Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to this beautiful night in which we are going to begin part 4 of our ultimate showcase. Remember, if you are interested in learning about any of these recommendations, I suggest you check out the previous VODs because this one will be about third-person shooters, 3D platformers, as well as hack and slash games, right? So those will be the 3 subgenres we are going to explore tonight. The best recommendations right here, right now, for all of you. Check out the previous VODs in case you're interested about first-person shooters that we finished last time, as well as RTS games and RPG. Well, as you know, I'm not going to go all over again regarding the different tricks and recommendations that I explained during the first VOD, because otherwise it would be way too long if I would once again explain all of the tricks that I did to get this menu in which I immediately run any game, and it's at my fingertips the power of simply running a game without logging into pesky launchers or anything like that. Nowadays we have several of those Epic Games, Steam, and God knows what the future may be regarding that. We have a lot of launchers, the Blizzard launcher as well. I commented all of those things during the first showcase in which I talked about classic RPG and those genres. Right, as you can see, we have a problem because my camera is on top of the row we should be exploring right now. So we are going to do this. Let me check this here. Right, there you should be able to... You can see it perfectly. Alright, let me see, just in case. Yeah, perfect. Alright. Then once we'll go back to the normal camera, to the normal scene once the first 10 or 15 games have been covered. Remember, here I am to recommend for all of you, even if you are veterans, even if you know a lot about video games, maybe you can find some recommendations here that could potentially help you expand your library of games. That's the idea behind this. And the second idea, of course, is the fact that I want to have a recording of my collection just in case any of my hard drives fail, right? So it's a win-win scenario for both of us. Besides, I can explain you, as I've been constantly doing for the past 3 days in which I've been showcasing these, the different technical issues some games may have. For example, I remember that last time we did the special coverage of the case of Call of Duty because the servers were shut down long ago in the case of Advanced Warfare, and here you can see that I suggested you look for the special version, which has it's not a special version, it's the one which is able to provide you with the Exo Zombies mode, the Exo Survival mode, and with multiplayer against bots with a lot of mods, because the original servers were shut down long ago. So those cases, it's especially interesting to know that, for example, I don't know, Age of Empires Online, it can be played completely offline perfectly. It's a great game. It's called Project Celeste. Those are the highlights. The highlights I did. For example, that you should definitely mod Battlefront 2, the remake of Battlefront 2. That you should mod the original Battlefront 2 for totally different reasons. In the case of this one, as I've said last time, it's because it has a cap on the number of bots you can add. And in the case of this one, well, it needs to be heavily modded. I don't want to waste time because tonight we are going to explore the third-person shooter genre tonight. While I should highlight that last time we covered Scourge Outbreak, which is a third-person shooter game, pretty similar to Gears of War, as well as God Mode, and that you can play Battlefront 2 and the remake. That's why I precisely mentioned those two some seconds ago, even though they are in the first-person shooter category. Those are all options you should take into account when choosing more lesser-known third-person shooters. But in the case of this one, of this row, it will be completely composed of third-person shooters. And we begin with a legendary game, Grand Theft Auto 3. This is from the controversial collection that was released not long ago, as well as Vice City and San Andreas. Now, while I completed Vice City several times, I was never able to play Grand Theft Auto 3 as well, especially San Andreas, because this one I played it a bit, but I never touched San Andreas, so I need to do so. I know it's just that the Grand Theft Auto series doesn't have, for me it's not as important as it is for a lot of people, and I completely understand it, but for me personally it's not as important, personally, because of my tastes and, well, because of how I conceive the gaming industry, because it doesn't have any component of science fiction or creativity or anything like that. It could even be called a simulator to some extent, a real-life simulator to some extent, and I think it doesn't encourage creativity. I don't know if it's a solid argument for you, but it is for me. Now, this is the remastered versions. I want to say this, and I'll begin by saying this. I know that this remastered collection they recently released, it's very controversial. I know that a lot of people hate them. They'd rather mod the originals. I had the originals modded, and I painstakingly compared both versions a lot. Each one of the games, I have modded the three of them, and I compared the modded version for each one of them with the remastered collection, and the graphics for the remastered collection are much better. The bullet impact feeling, it's difficult to explain this, but the feeling when you shoot your weapons, the feeling of your crosshair as well, the feeling for the movement of the characters is much better in the remastered version. They will eventually iron out the bugs, so I suggest you ignore what most of the community is saying, because I tried the three of them, and while it's true there are some stupid bugs, it's not a lie that there are bugs, but I think they are a bit exaggerated. Yes, most definitely, because you can play the three games, completely fine, without any kind of issue, and they have much better graphics than any modded version. Take that from someone who used to play the modded versions of these games. I had them with widescreen. It was a 13 AG mod for widescreen. It's found right there. And, well, then some slight graphical mods, and no. The feeling, the handling, and everything is better in these three games, in this remastered collection. Even if I know that most people hate them, because they were full of bugs some months ago, but I think it was exaggerated. As I've said for a lot of different cases, get the remastered collection in this case. Sometimes the community exaggerates. As you can see, they all have custom artworks, as I've been showcasing constantly, so perfectly fine. Grand Theft Auto 4. I finished this game on the PS3, not on PC. I need to replay this. And yes, I played Grand Theft Auto 5, but the thing is, I usually complete every single mission once I get to play a game. That's why it takes me a lot of time to in some cases, finish the games. Though I've finished most of the ones I've showcased so far, I think, or at least a decent proportion, a decent amount of them. But well, I finished this one, I never touched San Andreas. I know, a sacrilege, I need to do so immediately. I finished Vice City with all of the missions. The ones I say I finished them, it's with all of the secondary missions. And I was unable to finish this one, I played it partially. The original Max Payne, well, this is a case which is pretty similar to, because it was also developed by Rockstar. It was also developed by Rockstar, and it was also released during the same period of time, more or less, of course. I think this one is from 2002, 2001, something like that. I'm not sure. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just using my memory. Well, this is pretty similar to Grand Theft Auto, that's why I grouped them together. Max Payne, it's a pretty awesome game. This version has all of the widescreen mods. It's the same. I'm using the same mod I was using for San Andreas, Vice City, and 3 before installing the remastered collection. It's the 13AG mod, made by 13AG, if I'm not mistaken. Widescreen resolution. It doesn't have any kind of graphical enhancements. This game doesn't need them. It just needs the widescreen resolution, and it's pretty much the best version available, because otherwise you would need to go to the original Xbox. I don't know if it's part of the Xbox compatibility program, the compatibility program for the Xbox One, but this is definitely the best version, because this one has unlocked frame rates and the possibility of playing with mouse and keyboard. So I highly suggest that you play this game. See how many games I've been suggesting. I'm thinking about that. For potato PCs, for PCs which don't have a lot of horsepower, and they can perfectly play this one. Maybe it won't play at 144 refresh rate as my version does because of the GPU, but at least you will have the best version ready for once you swap your graphics card. This is the best version because this one has unlocked frame rates. I was able to play this one at unlocked frame rates. It's the same case for the second one. And well, the third one, I think that precisely the Xbox, this one is part of the Xbox One compatibility program, I'm sure of it, but the frame rate is weird because it was originally released for the Xbox 360, so once again, this is the best version, period. But these two, it's even worse because I'm not even sure you can play them on modern systems. So here you have it. And I can confirm you, just as I confirmed to all of you, that you can reverse engineer all of these MMOs and play on your own without anyone bothering you, without caring about your character being nerfed. That's why I made this decision to use these offline MMORPGs, because I was sick of my characters getting nerfed with constant updates and those things. I support the theory that if you have to patch a game so many times, as is the case of games as a service, initially there was something wrong. That's the idea. I've been repeating this during my previous VODs, but well, for this one, there you have it. Red Dead Redemption 2, I have the first one for the Xbox 360. I didn't like the first Red Dead Redemption. Personally, I didn't analyze this game on. I didn't analyze the first Red Dead Redemption on stream, but I played it on the Xbox 360 with all of the secondary missions. and I awarded it a 7 out of 10 personally, because I didn't like, first of all, the outcome of the story, and well, that may be a stupid argument to some extent. The second problem is that the mechanics for the gameplay aren't as polished as other Rockstar games, precisely Max Payne. I I am pretty I'm a pretty die-hard fan of these games and the gameplay system they have, so I think it was superior to Red Dead Redemption. I know unpopular opinions, but well, I also said last time that I didn't like Half-Life 2, so if you were able to get through that comment, just as I said last time regarding the other one I mentioned, the one about Half-Life 2, we continue with the Punisher. The Punisher. This zone, let's say, of my collection, this group of games, they're kind of like part of the OG Xbox collab, if you know what I mean. They are all on the OG Xbox, just in case you're interested, but they are all playable thanks to the community patches, the different community fixes. We are able to play these with a widescreen resolution, and unlocked frame rates. Yes, you can play the Punisher and it's pretty good. This one isn't from Rockstar, but these are kind of like third-person shooters released on the original Xbox. They all look extremely good. As I always say, I love that graphical style of the original Xbox because it doesn't have ambient occlusion. I think while ambient occlusion was an incredible technological improvement for video games, I think 3D games from the sixth generation, especially the original Xbox, they had their own style, and that style I personally love it. Without using ambient occlusion, but with modern 3D graphics. Similar to Knights of the Old Republic and the ones I'm about to mention. Stabs the Zombie in A Rebel Without Pulse, the remaster, which was recently released. Just in case you didn't know, this one was considered a cult classic from the original Xbox, but only recently it was released on PC. Of course, needless to say, this is the best version. In the case of the Punisher, no. You have to mod it. Once again, I think 13AG is the one who created all of the mods required to get widescreen resolutions with these games. So, Stabs the Zombie, and Advent Rising, which I showcased on stream. As you all know, this game is a 10 out of 10. You should immediately play it. You should play this one immediately. In the case of this one, the patch is not from 13AG, it's from the community of the game, because this one is not only a cult classic, but an underrated masterpiece. You can check out my analysis. I finished this game on hard mode. It has a moderately steep learning curve in some cases. These are all third-person shooters. Even Stabs the Zombie, but you let's say you don't shoot a weapon, but you throw your organs instead. More or less, it was developed with the Halo engine, and it was part of the original Xbox 360, of the original Xbox games, which were literally based around the concept of third-person shooters. Advent Rising, it's a pure third-person shooter. This game, it's majestic. I awarded it the highest qualification. This is the first perfect score I awarded here on the channel. and I usually play underrated games. And yes, this game, it was meant to be a trilogy. It was meant to be a trilogy, uh, especially if you take a look at the ending. It was clearly meant to be a trilogy. The plot was written by Orson Scott Card, the author of Ender's Game, a pretty popular science fiction novel, one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So, but regardless of the plot and everything, the gameplay for this game, or present in this game, it's absolutely exquisite. The most and I'm not exaggerating, the most exquisite third-person shooter gameplay prior to Gears of War, of course, which I'm going to get to in a second, and probably on par with Gears of War. So imagine, it's on par, the gameplay mechanics are on par with the precursor, with the modern precursor responsible for the revival of the third-person shooter genre. Because let's be honest, Gears of War actually took a lot of ideas from another game called Kill Switch, and there were a lot of other third-person shooter games on the original Xbox. I could tell you a lot. I don't know if Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter was first person or third person. I cannot remember right now, but I think it was part of those. Of course, the Punishers, the Punisher, and the ones you just saw. But I remember a lot. Psyops: The Mindgate Conspiracy. Psyops: The Mindgate Conspiracy. Well, similar to Grand Theft Auto, off the top of my head. Streets of Los Angeles, or Crimes of Los Angeles, something like that. It was kind of like a GTA clone made by Activision. Well, there were a lot, certainly, but Gears of War is the one which revived, or let's say not revived, because the genre was always popular, which improved the mechanics to such a degree that the genre changed forever. The degree of complexity added by Gears of War. Well, Advent Rising, it's an absolute it's absolutely mandatory to play Advent Rising. If you like Gears of War, if you like Red Dead Redemption, if you like Grand Theft Auto, if you like Max Payne, it doesn't matter. You have to play Advent Rising. The PC version is the best version. It has the best graphics. Remember to install the community patch. That's of course needed, otherwise the game is completely broken. But once you install the community patch, which is extremely easy, it's extremely easy, pathetically easy. The game has unlocked frame rates, unlocked resolutions for you to choose from, great plot, great gameplay mechanics. It's even more complex than Gears of War in some cases. So, and this game, it's also the precursor of another series of games, which is Mass Effect. If you liked Mass Effect, Advent Rising was made for you. Actually, the other way around, because Advent Rising is the precursor, the original game, not Mass Effect. And the thing is, Mass Effect inherited a lot from Knights of the Old Republic, because it was made by BioWare. But prior to Mass Effect, Advent Rising, while it doesn't have so many RPG elements, the RPG part, it's much lighter. It doesn't have those heavy RPG elements. It's much more similar to a third-person shooter than an RPG, a modern RPG with third-person shooter mechanics. This one is a pure third-person shooter. Right. I cannot recommend this one enough. You will regret it if you don't get to play this game. You will regret it if you don't listen to what I'm telling you. You know, I don't recommend the game if I don't have a solid argument behind it. And Advent Rising is one of those cases. Play this game immediately if you haven't played it. You can check out my gameplays just in case you're interested. I awarded the highest qualification, so go check out this game and play this game right now. It's long and perfect. And we get to Gears of War. As I said, there were a lot of of course, I finished Advent Rising as well as Gears of War. Gears of War, well, several times on the Xbox 360, on PC. The PC version has a 60 FPS lock, which is sad, and it's impossible to bypass it. There's no way to do that. And this version, well, it has one small mod, which is here you can see it's the campaign. This is the classic game. Be careful, because for this one you need the games for Windows Live Services or something like that, which was released in the dark period of time of Windows Vista, 2007-2008, and well, you will need that service, which it no longer works, but you just need to install it on your system. And this is a mod. It's absolutely separated. This mod is standalone. I just grouped it together because it's part of that. As you know, the servers for the original Gears of War were shut down long ago, as you can imagine. And with this mod, and this one is being actively developed. This one is not finished, so there's no need for you to download it. But just in case you are interested, this mode is multiplayer versus bots. It's multiplayer against bots. I don't recommend it yet, not because it's bad, but because the bots, because of the fact the bots aren't polished enough. You have a lot of other options. For example, Scourge Outbreak, which I showcased last time. God mode, and pretty much check out the previous VOD. I don't want to waste your time if you're watching this particular part of my showcase, but all of these, they are all arena shooters. I go over each one of them one by one, so if you're interested in having endless replayability with good artificial intelligence, I specifically highlighted last time the games which had a perfect artificial intelligence for you to face off against, and trust me, you will become a believer of multiplayer against bots, something which is extremely unpopular nowadays, I know, but the ones I showcased, the ones I highlighted, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Check out the previous one. But well, this is an extra. I just have this here to remind myself that this one is being actively developed. This is a copy of Gears of War, modded specifically. This is a standalone with the mod. It's multiplayer against bots. Pretty much that's it. But it's still not finished. You can play. There's no problem, but you won't have any issues. But the bots aren't as good as all of the games I've been showcasing. So you get the point. Gears of War 5. I think this one has multiplayer against bots offline, so this is another great option, if I'm not mistaken. And otherwise, well, you have the campaign, the Hive Busters expansion, Horde mode. I'm not sure if this one has offline arena versus against bots. I need to investigate that, but I think yes, it has. that mode. But well, I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. Yeah, you don't see Gears of War 4 right here because that one needed a permanent internet connection. That's an absolute sacrilege in my dictionary, so I am not encouraging the prostitution of the gaming industry. Plain and simple. As I've been constantly mentioning, pretty simple. Pretty simple. And the disgusting. What was it? The Universal Windows platform. That pile of crap. Had we bought a lot of Universal Windows platform games, nowadays we would have Forza Horizon 5 and 4 with that pile of crap. We had Forza Horizon 4 with that pile of crap, but fortunately it was removed. And we get to Alan Wake. This game is from the Xbox 360 era, the 7th generation, exclusive to the Xbox 360 and PC. I know, but this is the remastered version. I'm stupid. No. This is the remastered version, which was recently released. And I think you can play it on the PlayStation. Could it be? Because it was a multi-platform release. Well, this is the remastered version. Pretty good. But it's true that I think this one doesn't include the DLCs. Be careful. You could feel free to prove me wrong in the comments if you're watching this as a YouTube VOD, but this one does. I am pretty sure this one doesn't have the DLC, the American Nightmare DLC. So this one is it's a standalone. It was released as Xbox Live Arcade game originally on the Xbox 360, yes, and so it's a standalone as well here as well. So you need to have the original standalone expansion because the remastered version doesn't have the DLC, and the DLC is more action oriented than the original. So I always love that. So I had to keep. I uninstalled the original game for PC, and I left the expansion like this untouched. You have to do that because otherwise you're missing the expansion. As you can see, most of the covers are edited. The artwork for the covers are edited by me to kind of like represent the actual game cover. I don't know why developers don't use game covers, the original artwork for the game covers for their icons. Sometimes they're pixelated and ugly. Well, but well. Sunset Overdrive. Yes, we are getting into this kind of like the group of the Xbox third-person shooters, and we get to the Xbox One with Sunset Overdrive. Sunset Overdrive, the best version is on PC. Not much to add. Unlocked frame rates. This game is gorgeous. I specifically recommend this one if you played Infamous 1 and 2, as well as the expansion Festival of Blood on the PS3. So if you liked any of those 3 games, this one was made for you. It's a great game. This game deserves a 10 out of 10 score. I don't know why people don't remember this game. The same could be said for Record. Well, maybe not with a 10 out of 10 score, but well, I would award it 8 out of 10 maybe. I would award this game a higher qualification because I like not only the aesthetics but also the how blazingly fast the gameplay mechanics were. And yeah, pretty good. In this one you kind of like face a lot of bosses, and it could even be considered a bullet hell in some cases, but they are all third-person shooters for you to try. Quantum Break, this one is much more similar to Uncharted rather than Infamous and and Sunset Overdrive. This one is a story driven. It's based on a TV series. There's time manipulation mechanics, but there aren't that as many fights as in a pure third-person shooter game. This one is much more story-driven, similar to Control. Most of these, either I played them, but I haven't finished them. No, sadly, I don't have that much time. But I more or less know the gameplay mechanics. Control, the same, pretty similar to Quantum Break, made by the same studio, which also developed Alan Wake, which is Remedy. Of course, now they are much more independent, if I'm not mistaken. But well, here you have all suggestions of modern. It's easier to recommend third-person shooters than, say, RTS, RPG games, because they are much more modern. First of all, they are much more modern. And second of all, most people are not afraid of steep learning curves, as well as, I don't know, something like, as I've said, any of these forgotten classic RPG games that I've been showcasing. For example, this isometric action RPG that I streamed, Evencast Rise of the Mage. It's easier because they more or less can connect these games to modern gameplay mechanics. But for example, the ones I showcased, they are totally forgotten games, and people say, is this guy telling me the truth? Are those games that good, or is he lying? That's the thing. But here it's easier because most people imagine what they are about. But in the case of the other ones, well, they are completely forgotten. That's why I usually showcase games from forgotten genres as well. That's the thing. The original Tomb Raider, I played. In the case of Tomb Raider, I originally never liked the Tomb Raider series, but then I played the remake version for the PSP, for the anniversary edition of the original Tomb Raider, and I understood why that game was considered so good. I would have never played the original PlayStation version, because I remember that I played a lot of original PlayStation games, and I think the original look, I could never, even as a kid, swallow those horrible graphics from the 5th generation. It was horrible. It was totally horrible. It had nothing to do against The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Also regarding graphics. Alright, the first one, the second one, the third one, I need to play the 3 of them. I know it's sacrilege, I need to do so. Now I like the Tomb Raider series, not as much as Uncharted, and I finished all of the Uncharted games, except for the one released on the PS4, Uncharted 4, and Lost Legacy. I'm waiting for the imminent remastered collection here on PC, so that's it. This one, I finished this game completely, and I cannot tell you how good this game is. Binary Domain. Binary Domain. Go ahead, just like with Advent Rising. If you like Gears of War, you will feel right at home with this game. It's right up your alley, trust me. Binary Domain is kind of like the Japanese take on the third-person shooter genre, but in a way that is so similar to Gears of War. It could even be called a Gears of War clone, 100%, without a doubt, without a shade of doubt. And this game is awesome. You have to make a lot of decisions while it's not an RPG game. You will have to make a lot of decisions. The gameplay mechanics are pretty polished. And this masterpiece from Sega is just as good as the second masterpiece, but Binary Domain is longer and the plot is much more polished. It has a cohesively developed plot, pretty well done. This game was supposed to have a sequel, especially if you pay attention to the ending. It was supposed to have a sequel. It doesn't, but the quality of this game is incredible. Don't be afraid of that. This is what I always say. Don't be afraid of trying Advent Rising, of finding the community patch and playing Advent Rising, playing Binary Domain, because these are all underrated games. I can totally warranty you they all have my certificate of quality. So trust me, they are not simply forgotten games or anything like that. They are great, underrated games. It's just that people cannot play every single game that's available. That's why I'm here, to recommend you all of these. And trust me, and you will remember my words. Binary Domain, Advent Rising, and all of the ones I highlighted last time for the other genres, you won't regret them. Don't think and don't be afraid of the fact that these games are forgotten, because it's just that they're underrated. That's it. Their quality is incredible. Speaking about that, here we have Vanquish. This one is pretty short. See that I am being totally honest. This game is pretty short and it's literally perfection. This game is literally perfection. It's not inferior to Gears of War in any way, but the truth of the matter is it was released after Gears of War, so we need to give points to the original idea always. But if you liked Gears of War, go ahead and try the second gem, also made by Sega, because this game is awesome. It's much more fast-paced, the gameplay and the combat, than Gears of War. If you want a fast-paced version of Gears of War, Vanquish was made for you. It has an interesting score system, which somehow helps with the lack of replayability of this game. And the PC version, which was relatively recently released, is the best, without a doubt. So, see that I grouped them by the developer that made all of these games. Rockstar, Microsoft. Well, in this case, it's a Square Enix, but Tomb Raider, it's a classic. Tomb Raider games are all classics for the most part. And here, Sega. And now we'll get to individual games. Except some isolated examples. From now on, they will all be individual games. Anyways, I tried to group them by company. One thing about Gears of War that I forgot. I finished Gears of War 1, 2, 3, Judgment, and I'm waiting to begin the new trilogy. Once I get to play a lot of other games, I don't have enough time, but I finished all of them. I played most of the Gears of War games. Only the recent ones, as you know, I go one by one in order of release. I want to begin with the classics and then I play the sequels in order. Warhammer 40k Space Marine. The sequel for this one was recently announced. This is a great game. I finished this game as well. I also finished Vanquish and Binary Domain, or Binary Domain. Yes, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, the original, released back in 2011, is a great game from the Warhammer universe. This game is great. Go play it right now. The thing is, this one isn't a forgotten gem because it was pretty popular, or at least moderately popular when it released. I remember when it was released, and I highly suggest, if you haven't played this one, do so immediately. Of course, do so immediately. And the same for this one, the Bureau XCOM Declassified. The Bureau XCOM Declassified. This one has nothing to do with the XCOM series. You won't find a single XCOM game in my PC because I hate turn-based games. But this spin-off, I never finished it, but there's one thing I should highlight. This one uses a pretty interesting physics system. It's a case similar to the one I mentioned 3 streams ago, Sacred 2, which uses a specific physics engine. The same for this one, it uses the NVIDIA physics engine, but I think that if you install the version for Sacred 2, it will work for this one. As for the rest of the graphical options, all of these third-person shooters, except for Max Payne, as I've said, which needed which needed to be modded, as well as the Punisher and Advent Rising, except for those 4, the rest they are all playable at unlocked resolutions, and in some cases unlocked frame rates. For example, Gears of War has a cap of 64 FPS. This game, it's great. You have to command a squad. If I remember correctly, the thing is I played this one long ago, but it has truly awesome graphics, truly awesome physics. It's just like, do you remember the volumetric fog in Batman Arkham, in the Batman Arkham series? Well, this is a pretty similar case. We're going to get to that, to the Batman Arkham series tonight. But this one is also a case of, well, it's a technical marvel because NVIDIA influenced a lot of the graphical effects with their technology. They provided a lot of special effects. And yes, be careful regarding what you activate, because if you activate some of the most crazy special effects, such as the fog or others, the game will crash. So be careful with that. Be sure to check out Google for the options, because I remember there was a problem with that. I had issues with this game. Riders of the Broken Planet. I don't know much about this game, but I remember it was awesome. I never played it, but I remember the images for this game were awesome. The footage for Raiders of the Broken Planet was awesome. I think that this game originally had a different name, so be careful. But I remember this game was awesome, but I can't recommend it because I haven't tried it. Destroy All Humans, the remake for the classic game, released on the original Xbox, which is the version I played. And I need to play this remake because it looks gorgeous. The second part of this remake, which is Destroy All Humans 2, also for the original Xbox, but that one it was worse. That one was worse because the second part, I think it was exclusive to the original Xbox. So it's great to have the first and the second part remastered like this. Honestly, THQ was always one of my favorite companies, but since they were revived recently and they do all of these games, I don't think they are completely AA, because they look absolutely gorgeous. The same for Darksiders 3, which we are going to get to in a second. and Titan Quest. They are masters at reviving all of their IPs, that's for sure. Great game. With this game, you play as a diablo. If you like Invader Sim, if you ever played Invader Sim, this game was made for you. And if you like third-person shooters, this game was also made for you. Just bear in mind it has some crude humor, just like Conquer Bad Fur Day from the original Xbox. Well, it's similar. The Saboteur, French at its finest. This was the last game, I think, yes, this was the last game published under Electronic Arts seal, but it was the last game developed by Pandemic before they went bankrupt. Awesome game, you should totally play, and the PC version is the best. That's for sure. I am not sure if it has unlocked frame rates, but I remember this game looked great. It has a lot of black and white scenes, filters, which make this game an incredible experience. You're in the middle of Paris while it's being occupied by the Germans during World War II, and as you can imagine, you are the saboteur, and well, you do a lot of things. If you liked Grand Theft Auto, I suggest you try this one, and because it's pretty similar in a lot of cases. I couldn't finish the game, but I know the gameplay mechanics, and the shooting mechanics are on point. The gameplay is on point, so try it. You won't regret it, and get the PC version. I think I never modded this one. No, this one didn't need any mods. Out of all of the ones I just mentioned mods. Advent Rising, The Punisher, and Max Payne 1 and 2, and that's it. The other ones, this genre, it doesn't need any mods because they are usually focused on the graphical quality of the games. That's true. Hey, let's get back to the other camera because you can see them. Let's see. Yeah, it's well. I could have done so earlier. Well, the definitive edition for Mafia 1, 2, and 3. This last game, it's a bit controversial. It certainly doesn't have the quality of Mafia 2 and Mafia 1. So it's like Mass Effect 3. Consider this one the evil twin brother of Mass Effect 3. Yes, pretty similar. And this one. I wanted to get to this one. Made by Jaeger Entertainment. I don't know what Jaeger is thought about when they released that arena-based game, which was about starships in multiplayer battles. So I don't know what were they thinking, because they should have released Spec Ops: The Line 2. This game has a lot of things going on because the gameplay mechanics are pretty solid. It's not as short as Vanquish, but it's not as long as Gears of War. It's kind of like the middle ground. And just as I told you about Advent Rising, Binary Domain, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, you should definitely try out this one. It has a lot of impressive graphical effects. They used a pretty impressive technology, because the sandstorms in this game, they are truly sandstorms. They affect your visibility, and in the heat of battle, in the middle of a battlefield, it plays a big role. I love this game. I truly love this game. It's awesome. Jaeger, if you're listening, go ahead and do Spec Ops The Line 2. That's what everyone is waiting for. This game is legendary from the 7th generation as well. It's a modern game, gameplay wise. Maybe the graphics are not as good as modern games, but the gameplay mechanics are pretty well executed. Definitely try this game. Definitely try this game. Just as I told you about the other ones, you have to try this one. 007 Bloodstone. Well, this one is pretty interesting because it was made by the same developer that created a racing game called Blair, which I have here, and the car handling mechanics are pretty similar. The third-person shooter mechanics are pretty well executed, but I haven't played this game a lot. I just remember playing it a bit, and I thought it was pretty well executed. Inversion. Most people forget about this game, and there you can see this one is one of those which have the original icon. As much as I like modifying, editing the artwork for the icons, this one has a pretty interesting mechanic because, as the title suggests, gravity gets inverted. I know it's difficult to picture, but that's the idea. There's a lot of crazy things going on in this game, but I highly suggest this one as another option. I was unable to finish this one. The one I did finish was Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Future, not because of the difficulty, because of lack of time. Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I finished this one on the highest difficulty. I need to play the DLC because this one has a pretty interesting DLC, which is the Raven DLC, which is an expansion, and it's pretty interesting. People underestimate this game, and I need to showcase this game. I finished this game. This game is great. If you like The Division 1, 2, you won't find them here because I don't support online-only games. That's a sacrilege. Games as a service, they're an absolute sacrilege, so forget about it. But if you like The Division 1, 2, and modern Ubisoft third-person shooter mechanics, you will love this one. You will certainly love this one, and this one has a cohesively developed plot, properly executed, proper gameplay mechanics. It's a complete game. It's not a game which acts as a service. It's not part of the games as a service we have right now, online only. No, here you will find a complete game with a totally, with a great DLC. Let's say I remember the expansion was pretty good, so it's worth it. So highly recommended this one as well as a Spec Ops The Line. Ghost Recon Wildlands. I need to check this one out because I assume it's the modern incarnation of this one. I don't expect it to be as good as Future Soldier. Splinter Cell Conviction. A lot of people say this version for PC is bad. I need to verify that, but I was able to play the first level without any kind of issues. So far I have to recommend this one because I have no issues. Sorry. Maybe it's because of the fact I have the updated version of this one. Because most people always forget to update old games, and sometimes, or in a lot of cases, more than sometimes, they fix them, but people end up having the original idea, which is that the game is broken. No, in this case, I could at least play it and it was not broken. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Rumors Rumors say Ubisoft will revive this series. Not my favorite, but it's not bad. I don't like stealth mechanics, as you know. Yes. Saints Row 3, of course, Saints Row 2 is the case of a game which is completely broken on PC. Get the Xbox 360 version. Saints Row 2 is practically, literally, an Xbox 360 exclusive. And it's much more similar to a classic Grand Theft Auto game, the same for the first Saints Row, which is completely exclusive on the Xbox 360. I haven't played this series a lot, but I know the story behind them. And it's, of course, Saints Row 3, in this case the remastered version, the one which gave the Saints Row series their own identity. If you liked Sunset Overdrive, if you liked Infamous 1, 2, and Festival of Blood, most probably you will like this one. You will most probably like this one, Saints Row 4, and Saints Row 4 Get Out of Hell. And as a final recommendation for fans of those games which involve going around, also if you liked Crackdown 1, 2, or 3, which I love the Crackdown series, and I know most people will think this is another unpopular opinion. I finished Crackdown 1 on the Xbox 360 on the hardest difficulty with most of the achievements, and it was a great game. Crackdown 1, it's a perfect game. I need to play the second one as well as the third one. I always loved the Crackdown series. Besides, they're pretty hard. At least the first one. At least the first one. The first one is pretty hard. The final level, the final tower, it's pretty hard. So I highly suggest you try, especially Crackdown 1. And well, I haven't played 2, but if it was made by the same team, so. But I think Sumo Digital published it. There was something there, but well, I think it's the same because of the gameplay. But in case you already played Crackdown, all of the Crackdown series, I highly suggest you try that one first. In case you played all of the Saints Row series, as I've said, if you liked Grand Theft Auto, play Saints Row 1 and 2 on the Xbox 360. If you liked Sunset Overdrive, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood, play Saints Row 3, 4, and Get Out of Hell. Use the remastered version in the case of Saints Row 3, it's perfectly fine. And if you played all of those, Agents of Mayhem, it's the real spiritual successor to Crackdown, as well as Saints Row 3 and 4, etc. Right. It was made by the same team, Volition, if I'm not mistaken, and recently they lost their way with some stupid trailer which everyone hated, and they're pretty much pissing on their franchise. I need to be honest. They're pretty much pissing on their franchise right now with that trailer. Everyone hates it, so you have enough recommendations. Infamous, Crackdown, Sunset Overdrive, Saints Row. You have a lot of recommendations. Rogue Trooper. Alright, we get to another company, which is, instead of Volition, this one is Rebellion. All of the games you're going to see right now, they were developed by Rebellion. Beginning with Rogue Trooper. This game is it was originally a classic PC game, which was relatively recently remastered for modern systems. Well, I don't know. It's on PC. It's the Redux edition, as you can see there with my custom artwork. You're an alien soldier, pretty crazy. It's an excellent game. I think this one has the crosshair kind of like centered, so it's not like Gears of War. It doesn't have the Resident Evil 4 camera over the shoulder. That's right, over the shoulder, the over the shoulder camera. As you can see there, your arm it's kind of like inside of the weapon, and once you die, you kind of like transfer your consciousness to another soldier. It's pretty crazy. Regarding that, it has some similarities with Cyberpunk regarding the chips and everything, but this one has a heavy heritage from, as I've said regarding Half-Life 2. This one inherits a lot of World War II vibes, as most people modernly say, and I don't like, but well, that's the vibe. It inherits a lot of traits from and a lot of the essence of a Second World War scenario. So if you like World War II based games, you will probably like Rogue Trooper. Also from Rebellion, their Opus Magnus, Sniper Elite version 2, Sniper Elite 2 remastered, as you can see there. Well, Rebellion at its finest. This game has. Go ahead and try this game. This game isn't purely a third-person shooter. It is a third-person shooter, but most of the time you will be sniping enemies. It's a sniper game. But the truth of the matter is, it's not a first-person sniper game. For that, last time I recommended Sniper Ghost Warrior 2, 3, Contracts 2. They have nothing to do with these ones. With Sniper Elite, because Sniper Ghost Warrior, the Sniper Ghost Warrior series is played in first person, and it's developed by CI Games, and these ones are in third person, and they are developed by Rebellion. Totally different studios, so while their names are similar and their gameplay mechanics are similar, they have nothing to do with each other, other than the things I've mentioned. Great game, the slow motion camera. If you've never seen the slow motion cameras present in the Sniper Elite series, go ahead and do so immediately. Just imagine the Mortal Kombat cameras. They are pretty similar, and these games are definitely great. Check them out. Version 2, Sniper Elite 3. The first one, I don't have it because it's pretty similar to the second one. I should probably try it, but I thought it was not as good as let's see. It was way too outdated, first of all, and they didn't release this remastered version. If we had a remastered version available, we would be able to. I at least would immediately get Sniper Elite 1 version 2, let's say. But no, there's no remaster. I think you can fix the original. It's not that difficult, but the second one has much more quality, so that's pretty much the idea. And they recently released, more or less, Sniper Elite 4. The one I mostly played was this one. I need to play these other two. And from the same company, Zombie Army Trilogy. Get this one immediately because it has Zombie Army 1, 2, 3. Originally I had the 3 games, but when this was released, I was absolutely thrilled. Also sniper games, but as you can see there, they are pretty pretty brutal. You will be facing uh, World War II scenarios with zombies, with the classic gameplay from the Sniper Elite series. If you like any of the games developed by Rebellion, these are all made for you. But I highly suggest you try out the trilogy. Try out the trilogy because you'll have everything in one single package. The PC version is the best. The graphics in these games are awesome. While Rebellion isn't considered a AAA developer by most people, I do think so because the quality they have for their games, or the quality present in their games, to be precise, it's phenomenal. Absolutely awesome. Zombie Army 4, Dead War, pretty much the ultimate Rebellion game they released recently, where you face waves and waves and endless waves of zombies, one after the other one after the other. Get these ones immediately. The Sniper Elite series and the Zombie Army series, and the final game they created, Strange Brigade, as well. Because if you like the Rebellion, here you have their most important games, including Rogue Trooper. So yeah, you definitely want to get all of those if you like third-person shooters. You cannot ignore them because they are all awesome. Especially if you also like sniper gameplay, let's say. All of these are incredible. Demon Ex Machina, I need to try this one out. I like the mechanics I saw for the Switch, and this one is the definitive version for PC, released not long ago. It's the best version. I usually don't like mech games, Eastern mech games, or mechas, or whatever, but this one seemed to be pretty solid, and the art style was much more similar to what I usually like. So, nah, I cannot say a lot of things because I haven't tried it. All right, we get to a totally different subgenre because we finished with the shooters, I believe. Well, at least the first person and the third person shooters. Then we have shoot 'em up games and vertical side-scroller shooters and twin stick shooters, but well, much more arcade experiences. These were all much, for the most part, modern third-person shooters. All right, 3D platforming. 3D platforming. We begin with Sonic Generations. This is the best Sonic game ever released. Modernly, not that stupid. Of course, the best one will always be either Sonic 3 or Sonic 2. Either of those regarding 2D platform. But regarding 3D platforming games, Sonic Generation is probably the best Sonic game. Because this one has a combination of 2D levels with 3D levels, and the only one which is fairly similar, it's Sonic Colors, which is also great, and it has a recently released a version on PC. I need to get that one, definitely. I need to get that one, and I would place Sonic Colors right here because it was developed before Sonic Generations, and they are both great games. The Casino Night DLC, the expansion, released back in 2011. It's so, I don't know how I just remember that, but well, I also remember the DLC for this one is the Raven DLC, and this one is also from 2011 or something like that, or 2013, 2012, something like that. And yes, with the Casino Nights DLC, it's great. One detail most people don't know about the Each version for Sonic Generation has different levels, but the version for the Nintendo 3DS here of Sonic Generations for the 3DS right here, it's totally different. So you should also get I have the version for the 3DS as well as the PC version, and I'm pretty much covered. Yes, only the 3DS version has totally different levels and gameplay. So you should play this one, the PC version, which is the best out of the standard versions, and then the 3DS version. It's a special because all of the levels are different, not just one, or most of them. Some must be the same, but most of them are different. Sonic Lost World, I don't know why people forget about this game. This game was only released for the Wii U and PC, so try this one. It's not part of the Boom series. Don't worry about that. It's not part of Sonic Boom. It has nothing to do. It's a good game. People forget about this game because I don't know, because they have way too many games nowadays. They forget about this one. Sonic Forces, good game. Not as good as Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors, but it's a solid game. I don't see why you wouldn't play this one if you like 3D platforming in general. The original mascot of the PlayStation brand. The original mascot for the PS1, for the PSX. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This game is great. Get it immediately. I played the original Crash Bandicoot, the second one, and warped a lot of times on the PlayStation. I could finish it as a kid several times. I'm proud of that, but well, I need to try the remastered trilogy here because it's incredible. I don't have enough time. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. Incredible. This is a dream come true. And as for the rest of the Crash Bandicoot games, because there's Crash Bandicoot 4, the Wrath of Cortex, the Crash Bandicoot 5 to Insanity, and then the ones released for the Xbox 360, which are Mind Over Mutant, as well as Crash of the Titans. Well, I don't suggest you try Mind Over Mutant. You could try Crash of the Titans. It's a bit. It has beat 'em up mechanics. Beat 'em up gameplay, such as similar to. You remember I showcased this one, Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith, up there. Well, pretty similar in some cases. Similar to, you know which one? It's a game I don't like, but Marvel Alliance, Heroes 1 and 2 or something like that. The Marvel Alliance games, well, that's Crash of the Titans. Crash Bandicoot 4 and Crash Bandicoot 5, Wrath of Cortex, as well as to Insanity. Well, I use the backwards compatibility of my modded Xbox 360, which can play original Xbox games, and the best version was the one present in the original Xbox. So I play 4 and 5 on the original Xbox, and on the Xbox 360 with the backwards compatibility. And natively I play Crash of the Titans. So if you have an Xbox 360, mod it, and you can play 4, 5, Crash of the Titans. I don't suggest Mind Over Mutant. And then you can play these remastered games, which are the best, certainly. They successfully revived the franchise, and I'm terribly happy for it. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. I could never beat the final boss in the original Spyro when I played the original game on the PlayStation 1. I remember it was a coliseum with a lot of lava, and yeah, I could never finish that, but I got to the end. This game is a personal pending debt I have with myself. You can also play Dawn of the Dragon, also on the Xbox 360. I'm not recommending the PS3 version because generally during the 7th generation due to the architecture the PS3 had, it's better used as an exclusive machine. It's best to just use the PS3 to play the exclusive games, except for Dante's Inferno, and well, use the Xbox 360 for the multi-platform games and the Xbox 360 exclusives, and the backwards compatibility and the Xbox Live Arcade games. If I ever get a capture card, this is a promise, I'm going to showcase my collection similar to this one. Well, not with so many games. This is the bulwark of my collection, the biggest part of my collection. This is the main part of my collection. This is my PC collection is the largest collection I have. Then I have the Xbox 360, and well, if I ever get a capture card, you will see that a modded Xbox 360 it's still unbeatable. The Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One S, the Xbox Series X. None of the modern Xbox One consoles can beat the Xbox 360. Sorry, they have nothing to do against it. And if I had a capture card and you think otherwise, trust me, you would be convinced. Alright. Well, SpongeBob SquarePants, the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, they're going to release the Cosmic Shake soon enough. These games, contrary to popular belief, which may underestimate them, there's a reason why a lot of people love these games. Not only they have an incredible speedrun community, which I don't like speedrunning at all, I don't care. I think it should disappear. Sorry, I know, I'm so annoying. But the 3D platforming mechanics for this game are legendary, and there's a reason why we'll get a second part of this game. Because, trust me, don't underestimate this game, because it was great back in the day and it is still great. Don't think it's a coincidence that so many people praise the gameplay mechanics present in this game. Don't underestimate it just because the aesthetics are based upon a cartoon which is also pretty popular, so no, don't underestimate. Jet Set Radio. By the way, most of the viewership of this series, yes, it's composed of orals, trust me. It's the same case as Nintendo. Most of the player base is composed of orals. So it's a pretty similar case. Jet Set Radio. No, but the gameplay mechanics are incredible. The gameplay mechanics in this game are incredible. I tried the original one, and I tried this one a bit. I'm leaving this one for later because I played the original. There's a reason why people love that game so much. It's pretty well done. Clearly, it was not made by an amateur studio. Jet Set Radio. A classic game from Sega. This version supports up to 60 FPS. Most people think this version is broken, and that's a mistake because it's perfectly playable. I think it's modded to get over to surpass the 1080p limit for the resolution. I'm not sure if it's native or modded, but I can play this game at unlocked resolutions, and I think it has a 60 FPS cap because that's another thing. I think the FPS cap is also modded because it was originally 30. And I also had to fix the controller support for this one, but well, while it's not a perfect port, once you apply all of the mods, I think this game is a must play. And also, once again, mod your Xbox 360 so you can enable backwards compatibility and play Jet Set Radio Future, because that version is different, if I remember correctly. Could it be? Otherwise, get the PS Vita version. It's also pretty solid. If I didn't have this version, I would get the PS Vita version, which I have. Alright, right here. I would get the PS Vita version because it's HD. Or, I don't know, you can also get the Xbox Live Arcade version for the Xbox 360. So yeah, pretty much the Xbox 360 version or the PS Vita version if you cannot make this one run properly with a modern resolution and modern frame rates. So yeah, Harry Potter 2. The PC version is heavily butchered. It has nothing to do. This game is a pretty particular case because all of the versions, well, they are all different for each console. I don't know why they created different games for every single console. The PS1 version has nothing to do with the original Xbox version. The original Xbox version has nothing to do with this PC version. This version is the one I played as a kid. Don't underestimate this game, just like with SpongeBob, because this one is a pretty good game. The structure for this game is pretty well done. It has 3D platforming elements. It has a bit of third-person shooter elements, yes. And more or less, the games for this franchise were pretty well done, if you ask me, except for the 5th and the 6th. The 7th is different. That one is like a shooter. So if you like third-person shooters, go for the 7th entry. But the one I like is this one, and the one I suggest is this one. The 2nd entry and the 3rd entry. If you can play it, if you have an original Xbox, play it on the original Xbox, because that one was the best version by far. This one is a butchered version when compared to the original Xbox version for this one and this one. But the backwards compatibility for the Xbox 360 doesn't work well with these two titles, so I have them here instead. I also have the copy for the ones that were released on the original Xbox, but yeah, they play terribly. So yes, if you don't have an original Xbox, which is the case for most people nowadays, these two versions are kind of like the second place versions. They are better than the PlayStation version, better than the PlayStation 2, better than most versions. The GBA version, for example, it's an RPG. Yes, it's a turn-based RPG similar to Final Fantasy, which I hate. I hate that genre, so that was not an option. But yes. All of the versions for these games were different. And yes, as I told you, the original Xbox version was the best. These two, second place. You have to mod them. In this case, I think I had to even hex edit these. This one is easier. The 3rd one. This one can run perfectly. Here, the proportions are not perfect, but the gameplay is perfect at unlocked resolutions. and unlock frame rates. I also like the. I always love the prologue for this, the first level for this one, and the overall ambience. Right. Technically speaking, regarding resolution, these versions are the best. But well, regarding content and everything, if you happen to have an original Xbox, those versions are totally different. They are incredible. They are incredible. The versions for Harry Potter 2 and 3. The first one I couldn't make it run properly. The PC version is flawed, and I have it on the Xbox 360 because that one does work, fortunately, properly with the backwards compatibility. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. This one is about to be uninstalled, so look at it. Look at it pretty well, because once they release the Skywalker Saga, I've seen footage for that game, and that game is correct about everything. This version, I think I had to mod it to work properly, to run properly, and everything. But yes, the Lego Star Wars. I hate Lego games, except when they are based on the Star Wars universe, because I love Star Wars, and the original one was this one. Was Lego Star Wars, not the complete saga, but the one which involved episode 4, 5, and 6. This is the complete saga. It combines the second compilation they released. So I will probably uninstall this one once we get the Skywalker Saga, unless they do something stupid. If they do something stupid with that one, I will keep this one and the Skywalker Saga as well. I hate all of the modern films. They are a pile of crap. And please, if you think any of the modern Star Wars films are good, go ahead and watch a different channel, please, because my channel was not made for you, because they were an insult clearly to. They were clearly an insult to good taste, to intellect, everything, pretty much. Moving on, we have Lego Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This one definitely won't be uninstalled. It will never be uninstalled unless my hard drive fails, because this game is awesome. I was going to showcase this one, in fact. I am going to do so, but I'm afraid of the copyright. This game goes from the Battle of Geonosis, from the end of episode 2, all the way through most of the Clone Wars. It doesn't have the most modern seasons of the Clone Wars, season 7, and well, I don't think it even has the season 6, 5, and 4, whatever. But yes, pretty much. It involves the TV show as well as part of the movies. This game has awesome graphics. Don't underestimate this game. Do not underestimate this game, because this game is legendary. And it has gorgeous graphics. It's extremely different when compared to its predecessor. The rest of the versions aren't as good as this one. This is the best version. It has unlocked frame rates, unlocked resolution. It's a pretty interesting game because the gameplay is almost like a hack and slash game. It's not like most Lego games. It's pretty similar to a hack and slash game. Trust me, this one is different from most Lego games, which you won't find any other, because I don't like them, and blah 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 blah. This one doesn't recycle mechanics as well. The Legend of Kay, a classic from the PS2, and I don't know if it was. Yes, it was on the GameCube and the original Xbox. Could it be or not? Well, from the 6th generation, This one is a remaster, so you shouldn't have any kind of issues. Not as good as the one I'm going to showcase right now. This one I don't recommend you get it unless you are a fan, an absolute fan of the 3D platforming genre. But well, if you liked this one and you like the 3D platforming genre so much as to try every single possible game, try also the Tasmanian Tiger 1, 2, and 3. I don't have it here, but if you like the genre, try those 3 as well. iNinja, well, these are alongside Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars. The ones you're going to see right now are probably the most unfair cases of the 6th generation. These were all released in the same period of time, the 6th generation, PS2, original Xbox. But out of all of them, iNinja. If you like it, trust me. First, try this game, Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars. But if for whatever reason you don't trust me and you think Lego games aren't good, I don't think they are good except for these two. And you don't trust what I'm saying, this one you should definitely try it. iNinja is pretty much the same regarding the control of your character, the semi hack and slash mechanics, the pseudo hack and slash mechanics, pretty similar. You will find a pattern if you play both of these, sorry. But this one, if I told you some seconds ago that Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars was a good game, an excellent game, this one is beyond excellent. If you play any of the games I'm recommending, you will remember me. You will remember my words. This one, strangely, curiously, supports unlocked resolutions on PC. I don't think it supports unlocked frame rates, but I could be wrong. Play this game immediately. It was made by Namco before they merged with Bandai, before they became Bandai Namco. This is from Namco, one of the last games they independently developed. And trust me, you have to try this game. It has a lot of humor. It has a lot of excellent 3D platforming mechanics, excellent hack and slash mechanics. I wasn't able to finish it, but back when I played it on the PS2, but I remember this game is great. It's not nostalgia. Don't think it's nostalgia. Check out some gameplay if you don't trust me. I'm going to showcase gameplay for this one as well soon, because this game is incredible. It's one of the highlights of my collection. iNinja, it's an excellent game. So if you ever trust my words, try iNinja and Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars as the most underrated 3D platforming games. All of the games I'm showcasing, they have modern. You are able to run them at unlocked resolutions, and I think unlocked frame rates in most cases. Voodoo Beans, the same. This would be my third highlight, because it's pretty similar to Psychonauts in some ideas, and the 3D platforming is absolutely exquisite. So, Voodoo Beans, iNinja, and Star Wars The Clone Wars, Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars. Here you can wait for, as I'm doing, for the Skywalker Saga to replay it with at a modern resolution and those things. Voodoo Beans, highly suggested, on par with iNinja, so you can imagine that it's just as good. It looks, this one is a remaster. There you can see, it's difficult to see, but it says remastered down there in my custom artwork. So yes, you won't have any kind of issues with this one. This one is not a remastered version, but it has unlocked resolutions. So if you don't trust me, check out PC Gaming Wiki and you'll have the answer. I can perfectly play all of these with a controller, with an Xbox One X controller, so otherwise I wouldn't have them here. The only one which is played with a mouse and keyboard is these two. The only ones. Harry Potter 2 and 3, they are meant to be played with a mouse and keyboard, so you get the point. Psychonauts 1, well, this one is not forgotten, this one is not underrated because this game is considered one of the best 3D platforming games of all time. And most people rediscovered the franchise recently. I didn't because I played the original back in 2005. But not with these modern resolutions, so I need to replay this one on PC. And the second one, well, what could I tell you about the second one? It should have been Game of the Year, but well, it had some stiff competition with Age of Empires, Forza, and all of those games. Yooka-Laylee, well, if you like Banjo-Kazooie, this is pretty much the modern incarnation of Banjo-Kazooie. Most people want to complain about the camera in this game. I think they are ignorance. Plain and simple, this is not a matter of opinion, because this game is excellent, and the camera and those camera problems are just the same as the original games, so there's no reason to complain because Yooka-Laylee is a perfect 3D platformer. If you like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, this game was made for you. It's the modern incarnation of those. So you have to play this one. It's pretty much mandatory. Of course, the same for Psychonauts. New Super Lucky's Tale. This version was recently released. It's pretty much the best version for this classic game of the Xbox One and PC. This one is from 2017. It was showcased during the 2017 E3. And I think it's also pretty solid. I don't know why people may not recommend it. And well, had in time, it's loved by the community, but I don't know why New Super Lucky's Tale and Yooka-Laylee people complain about them when they are great. I even like the presentation in these two more than it had in times. Much more, definitely, in Yooka-Laylee and New Super Lucky's Tale than it had in time. Just in case you don't know, if you want to play the original Banjo-Kazooie made by Rare and well, the legendary Rare from the N64, from the Nintendo 64, get the HD version on the Xbox 360. See that I complement all of these genres with the Xbox 360. It's the best partner for all of these genres, 3D shooters and 3D platforming games. One I forgot about because I mentioned Inversion. Well, if you liked Inversion, you could probably try Fracture. That one is exclusive to the Xbox 360 and the PS3. I suggest you try out the Xbox 360 version, but I have more games. But try Fracture and Fuse from the Xbox 360, which are on the Xbox 360, and you won't regret it. Fuse from Insomniac, yes, from Insomniac, and Fracture from LucasArts. They are both great third-person shooters. Also Mad Hazard. But well. Skylar and Plax, Adventure on Clover Island. If I ever get a capture card, if my channel is ever successful, I'll get a capture card and do the same showcase with the Xbox 360. Skylar and Plax, Adventure on Clover Island. People forget about this game. People think this game is not good. I think otherwise. It's also great. Pretty much pretty much the same premise as Yooka-Laylee. Maybe not as polished, but it's not bad. It's another option. And the recently released Pumpkin Jack. This game, if you liked Medieval on the original PlayStation or the PSP, I played the PSP version, Medieval Resurrection, which I think is the best version. Well, no, but recently they released the PS4 version. I would need to try that one, but well, I don't have a PS4, so I'll have to wait. Pumpkin Jack, incredible 3D platforming game. As I've said, don't underestimate these ones because they're all great, and Pumpkin Jack it's absolutely great. It's way too modern. It's way too modern to become a classic yet, but I think it will become a classic because it's incredible. This game is incredible, and it proves that indie developers can do a great job. Shadowwen, this is from Frozen Byte, the creators of the Trine series of games, and people usually forget about this one. This one has a lot of stealth mechanics. It's a 3D game, pretty similar to the one I'm going to showcase right now, which you may have recognized instantly because it's pretty famous among the community. This is Shadowwen. If you like Aragami, you'll probably like Shadowwen because while Aragami is the better game, Shadowwen is a good second option. See that I'm giving you a lot of options. You have no excuses to ignore different genres anymore. They recently released Aragami 2. These are all incredible. Think about Shikamaru's Shadow Jutsu, Shadow Possession Jutsu. Well, this here you have that pretty similar mechanic. Maybe the developer even based the mechanics on that, but yeah, incredible games. If you like Dishonored, you will like these games. I don't like stealth games, so any stealth game you see here, you can see that they are completely isolated because it's a pretty particular case. And this one was released some months ago, Marsupiali Cube Adventure. If you want a modern 3D platforming game, this one is for you. There are more, but these are the ones I picked because they are the ones with the best quality. So 3D platforming, of course, on PC. It's true that on PC, 3D platforming is not the most predominant genre. That's true. That's why we have RTS as an exclusive genre. In my case, offline MMORPGs. In my case, offline MOBAs, offline multiplayer online battle arenas, or space real-time strategy. A lot of weird genres we have on PC. Real-time tactics. So even if we can get some 3D platformers, they are an extra feature because 3D platforming is a mostly predominant genre on consoles, and I have a lot of ideas if you want 3D platforming games, but on consoles, especially Nintendo consoles, as you must imagine. But as I've said, Banjo-Kazooie HD on the Xbox 360 is also a great, and nuts and bolts as well on that very same platform. But well, or Ratchet and Clank on the PS3. The PS3 has the highest concentration of 3D platformers ever. So, but on any PlayStation console, if you count the remasters, so at least in terms of quality. So you get the point. Yes, you will tell me that the original PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 have many more games and have many more 3D platformers, but well, the PlayStation 3 has the definitive versions for a lot of the PS2 era of games. So you get the point. You get the point. It has the most quality. Because the other ones you can play them either on the Xbox 360 or PC. Alright, we are getting to the hack and slash and also third person adventure genre. I consider this hack and slash or open world games with light RPG elements. The defining feature here is that none of these games will have a lot of gear. They won't have a complex RPG system, while they have nowadays the line between open world RPG and action adventure game with light RPG elements is absolutely blurred. But I think all of these, since they have light RPG elements, they don't have a complex item system. You don't loot a lot. You don't have complex skill trees. And above all, there's a combo system with a light attack and a heavy attack. In most cases, I think these games are not RPG games. They are much more open world hack and slash games or beat 'em up. But well, I have all of those right here. Beginning with Prince of Persia 4. Most people forget about this one as well. I suggest you try it. While it's not as good, of course I finished the original trilogy on the, I used the 3D trilogy exclusive to the PS3. Yes, it's exclusive. The Sands of Time is one of my all-time favorite games. The Sands of Time. If you haven't tried Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, you should do so immediately, or I don't know, wait for the remake, which Ubisoft promised but never released. They are working on it, I think, so you can wait for that. I am waiting for that game. But in the meantime, Prince of Persia 4 is also an incredible idea, an incredible alternative. They also usually forget about this one, The Forgotten Sands. It's not as good. None of these are as good as the original trilogy. Of course, that's for sure. But they're all great alternatives. Give me a second because I need a bit of water once again. This happened to me during the first showcase, so give me a second. Alright. Sorry, but at some point I'm out of breath after talking for so much time. But well, the first Assassin's Creed. Well, as you can see, I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. I have a lot of unpopular opinions because this game is great. This one is the best, but this one is a close second place. Most people think this game is outdated, blah 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 blah, whatever. This game is a second place. It's the second place of the Assassin's Creed podium. pretty much the second best Assassin's Creed game. Play them in order. I played all of the Assassin's Creed games with all of the side quests up until Origins. I need to play these modern games: Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. They changed a lot of things, but Assassin's Creed 1, play them in order. It's not true they are outdated. They're perfectly fine. This is a great game. This is the best Assassin's Creed game ever created and one of the best games of all time. Brotherhood, Revelations. I love the Janissaries here. Great story as well. All of the Assassin's Creed games, I love all of them. A pretty original concept. You know, this one was originally Prince of Persia 4, the sequel, and then it turned into Assassin's Creed. So there's no doubt about it. Ubisoft has a lot of talent, and this was their peak. Assassin's Creed 1 and these are the best versions. They are perfectly playable with a controller on PC. I don't think you will have any kind of issue. Brotherhood, Revelation, and the first one. I want to highlight the first one because it's a great game. Some people might think it's monotonous. Some people might think it's repetitive. It is repetitive, but it's a great game. I love this game. Don't take my word for it, because I can understand why most people don't like the first one that much, but I love it. I played it back in 2008 on PC, not on Xbox, not on the Xbox 360 or the PS3. I know, pretty weird, but that's the case. I finished the game when I was a kid. I was 13, could it be? I think I was 13 or something like that. This is the first game in which I saw blood in a video game as well. So great game. So yeah, all of them. Play the old ones because they won't disappoint you. Black Flag, this one is pretty much a pirate simulator. I don't like in Black Flag how they changed the timing for the parry and everything, but the game is great. I like the combat, the original combat, which is the one present in Revelations, Brotherhood 2 and 1. Especially Revelations and Brotherhood, they have the most polished OG combat, and for me that one is the best. Then they released this one. This is the remastered version, but they originally first released this one back in 2012. December of 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Great game, but not as good as the previous ones. Rogue is the weakest entry, let's say, out of this trilogy, but none of the Assassin's Creed games are bad. None of them. Black Flag as well, people love this game. See that I have them in order regarding the story. This is the true order of the plot. 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelation, Black Flag, Rogue, and 3. In spite of the fact that 3 was the first one, with Liberation, and then I think it was Black Flag and Rogue. Correct me if I'm wrong. This one was originally going to be a PS Vita exclusive, but don't be afraid, because this port is the best version. It's great, it looks great, it plays great, and I think this is a remastered version they released recently alongside 3. I don't know, but even so, if you don't get this one, the original port for PC is also awesome. This one, I think it's a remastered version they also released with this one. And just for the record, the remastered versions of 2, the Ezio trilogy and those things, they recently released on consoles. Well, they don't even come close to these ones. because they couldn't update the graphics a lot, and the PC version is always the best, pretty much, except strange cases of Eastern developers most of the time. They are mostly Japanese ports, the ones that it's impossible to fix. It's pretty much impossible to fix some Japanese ports. But well, Saints Row 2 was also a shitty port from a Western company. Assassin's Creed Unity, I finished this one. I finished all of them. All of them. This one, 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 and Unity. I played this one recently. I liked it. Assassin's Creed games don't feel never felt recycled for me, because they always changed the settings and they scanned the different cities all around the world. Just the gameplay mechanics, but even that they changed it. I need to play. No, I think I played Syndicate. Yes, I played Syndicate. I didn't finish it, I think, but I played most of it. I need to play the DLC for most of this, because back in the day I played them without the DLCs. Right, so I need to play the DLCs. The Jack the Ripper DLC here, the Tyranny of King Washington here, if I'm not mistaken. And here, I cannot remember what was the name for the DLC. Whatever. Assassin's Creed Origins. Of course, I played the first level up until you get to Iowa, to the first village, but I didn't play this game. I'm pretty skeptical about the stamina bar they placed regarding the combat system here. As you know, I hate stamina bars. I hate the first Dark Souls game, the second one, and the third one because of the stamina bars. I don't like slow-paced gameplay. If you think I'm a noob, you are totally wrong, because I finished a lot of games which are much tougher, much more difficult than Dark Souls. And trust me, if you think you're a pro because you finished Dark Souls, you are not, because in a Dark Souls game, at least it's memorization and getting good gear. There are games in which gear won't help you at all. Among them, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which, ironically, or coincidentally with my opinion, it doesn't have a stamina bar. It has the parry system, and it's much more difficult because of that. That's the thing. So when I saw a stamina bar here, this is the complete version, of course, with everything. The same for Odyssey and Valhalla. They're all great games. I just hope the stamina bar is not as bad as in Dark Souls games. Yes, I don't like Half-Life 2 and I don't like Dark Souls. And I played far more difficult games. Among them, Forza Motorsport 2. The final level in God of War Ascension on God mode difficulty is much more difficult. The Trials of Archimedes, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like that. So go ahead. Or you could even try the epilogue level in Call of Duty 4 on veteran difficulty and see what true difficulty is. So I need to try the modern incarnations of Assassin's Creed. Well, another one of my unpopular opinions and another one of my games. Now, the Batman series, I love them. They are the best games ever created, probably, for a lot of gameplay mechanics regarding that. They revived a lot of genres. The 7th generation is certainly underrated because it revived a lot of genres. That's what I love about that generation. Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, and I finished all of them except Arkham Knight. Don't underestimate Arkham Origins. I like to play this one on Christmas. I usually play this one on Christmas. Yes, don't ask me why. I feel comfortable playing Batman Arkham Origins on Christmas, as well as its younger brother, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. I don't know why. It's because the game happens during Christmas, fictionally. But the OG Batman Arkham Asylum is the best. Yes, even better than Batman Arkham City, and I played both of them. This one is the best one. Sorry, this one is the best one. I love the ambience, everything. I know this one is open world. I know this one is open world, but the first one is not only the one which started it all. It's not just that, it's that the gameplay mechanics are excellent. They are pretty excellent. Sorry. But yes, I can admit Arkham City is pretty good. But I think Asylum is even better. So, another unpopular opinion, by the way. I like the original icons. As you can see, I didn't mod them. Except for this one. Because this one was pixelated. Batman Arkham Knight, well, while most people say the port is an absolute mess, and they refounded back in 2015 this controversial release, they refounded to Steam players in a lot of cases the money. After a lot of years, I can confirm that while this game won't, the frame rate cap for this game, you should keep this in mind, it's 60. It was meant to be played at most 60 FPS. But console players who complain about, who say, but we've got a better port. No. They got a 30 FPS locked port of Batman Arkham Knight. The PC port is still the best. Even after all of the complaints, even after the fact that this is a shitty port, this is still the best version of the ending of the Dark Knight trilogy of games. Now, this is the best version with mods. I was able to unlock the frame rate, and I think this one will play at 90 FPS, but no more than that. You cannot get to 144 regardless of your GPU. I have a 3080, and I think it capped at 100 at most. The performance for this game is absolutely broken. It was meant to be played at 30 FPS, then they patched the game a lot and they were able to get 60, and with mods, only with mods, I think, and a lot of file editing, you can get it on PC to run at 90 FPS. It was slowly fixed over time, but once you get through all of that, the graphics are awesome. I should also highlight that the first Batman Arkham Asylum introduced the best and most modern volumetric fog effect ever seen in any video game by a long shot. Similar to the Burrow XCOM Declassified, but done right. Here you won't have any kind of issues. In the other one, yes, it's absolutely broken in a lot of cases. This one is it can get pretty complicated, intricated running this game properly, but you can do so. If I could, you can. You just need to research. But well, yes, you can rest assured, regardless of what you might have heard, this port is still the best one out of all three. The console ports are 30 FPS. Here you can unlock it all the way up to 90. At least at 90. Well, maybe if you have a 3090, it will run at 120. But yeah, you won't be able to achieve 144. I could achieve 90 or 100 with a 3080. So, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Be careful. This is the Ultimate Sith edition, of course. Be careful. Be extremely careful, because this game, just like the Lord of the Rings, The Conquest, just like this game, it had a game-breaking bug in which you cannot proceed beyond level 2. Yes, the TIE Fighter factory in which you fight Ram Kota. I played this game several times on several systems. This case is also pretty similar to the to the case of Harry Potter 2 and 3 and 1 as well, because every single version for this game is absolutely different. The Wii version has a dual mode, so I suggest you try that one. The Switch version, I think it inherits the exclusive dual mode from the Wii, and I suggest you get the PSP version, the Wii or Switch version, either of those, and then this one. This one is kind of like the best version. And be sure to update this game. Be sure to update the Lord of the Rings, The Conquest, because these two have game-breaking bugs. You won't be able to get through and at the beginning of the game, of the campaign mode. This one, it's during the 3rd level for the campaign, and this one during the 2nd level for the campaign. If my memory serves me right, yes. I'm pretty sure of it. You have all of the expansions. I think I finished this one with all of the side quests. It doesn't have side quests, no. This one is like a hack and slash game, pretty similar to God of War. But you can kind of like focus on your enemies, pretty similar to Dark Souls. An epic game with a lot of light RPG touches. As I've said, all of these games have light skill trees, but they're mostly hack and slash games. They have combos, and they don't have a gear system in which you have to loot, kind of like Borderlands a lot. No, these are hack and slash games. I don't call Batman games beat 'em up. They're hack and slash. I don't know why people say that. Also, the combat in Assassin's Creed Revelations with the parry mechanic is pretty similar to a hack and slash game. So I think people think otherwise. I know that people think otherwise, but they're pretty similar to a hack and slash game, the Batman games and the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. They are not beat 'em up games. So. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. This one you have to mod it because it's locked at 30 FPS. Contrary to this one was the superior game when compared to the sequel. I know, pretty weird. Usually it's the other way around. Even though I like the original Batman Arkham Asylum and Assassin's Creed 1. Well, no. Here Assassin's Creed 2 is better, but I like this one much more than Brotherhood and Revelations and Black Flag. And, yeah. But yes, definitely you have to play this game if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a fan of the God of War series, whatever. This game is pretty brutal. The PC version with the Ultimate Sith Edition expansions, which I think are 3, they are pretty great. Also get the Wii version or the Switch version, as I've said, for the dual mode, and then get the PSP version because it's just like the PS2 version, but it will look much better on the PS Vita. Use a modded PS Vita. That's what I use, and play the Force Unleashed version of the PS2, which is the PSP version actually, and you won't regret it because it looks awesome and the gameplay is different. The story is the same, but the gameplay is different. It's one of There are only two cases of games in which I would suggest trying different versions. This one, The Force Unleashed, and as I've said, of course, as you imagine, Harry Potter 2 and 3. All of them are great games, but as I've said, the PC versions, and in the case of these ones, the original Xbox versions, also for the first one, and in this case, the Wii version at least, or the Switch version. First, this version, the PC version is the best. Then the Wii version, or Switch version nowadays, and the PSP version, just if you are a fan and you end up loving this game. In the case of the second one, I recommend the Nintendo DS version. Why? You must be thinking, well, because it's a 2D platforming game, and it's pretty great. Pretty much. The case of the PC version, it needs to be modded. This one is modded to achieve 60 FPS. I could unlock the frame rate more, but the physics system would go to hell. So just 60 FPS. Don't go beyond that point because the mechanics will be broken. The physics engine is broken or something like that. So just mod the game, unlock the frame rate, but just up to 60 FPS. No more than that. Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, 2, and 3, these are part of the recently released collection. Originally, these games were a terrible port recently. They are a terrible port, but they are great games. They are pretty much defensive versions. The PC port is pretty lazy by Koei Tecmo. They got a lot of angry players complaining, and yes, I know the Xbox version has blood and those things, but this one is a bit censored, but they are all great games. Well. But yeah, get them, and you just have to do. I think they patched, and you can play full screen. I could play full screen with those, so no, don't worry. Otherwise, you just hit Alt Enter, and it runs at full screen resolution. It's just a lazy port. They are all just lazy ports, but they work. I finished this game. Of course, I finished this one, not Arkham Knight. I never touched this one because the port was originally a disaster, as you know. All of the rest of the Batman games, I played this one, that Batman game, which I'm going to showcase not next time, but once we are done with the next row. All of the Assassin's Creed games up until Origins, and X-Men Origins Wolverine. Just as I highlighted iNinja, just as I highlighted Voodoo Beans, just as I highlighted Star Wars The Clone War, Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars, you must play this game, trust me. Specifically the PC version. If you can't play the PC version, play the Xbox 360 version, but you'll be missing a lot because the PC version has nothing to do with the Xbox 360 and the PS3 versions. Yes, the Xbox 360 and the PS3 versions are better than the PS2 version or whatever, or I don't know if it was released on any other system, but the PC version was developed by Raven Software, the studio behind Singularity. This game looks not only much better on PC, but it has an exclusive an exclusive aesthetic to it, because when you suffer damage, you will you know that Wolverine um, he's immortal. He's made from adamantium, and you know the drill. He cannot be killed that easy. So the PC port for X-Men Origins Wolverine, I think it's called the Uncaged Edition or something like that. I don't know if that one is the Xbox 360 version. If you liked the God of War, this game was made for you. Don't underestimate this game. This is one of the best hack and slash games ever made. It's not terribly short. It's not as short as Vanquish. Played on hard mode. When you suffer damage, you kind of like you can see the blood and everything, and it looks gorgeous because you see how the wound is regenerated, but it's difficult to explain because it's so detailed, the process. You can see the different layers of flesh healing up, and the robes, the clothes Logan is wearing, you lose them when you fight, and this game is incredible. It's a technical marvel. It's an incredible hack and slash, one of the best. I consider this one a top 5 hack and slash games ever made. One of the top hack and slash games ever made. Sorry. Of course, if we don't count all of the God of War games. But even so, this one would be among the top 5 hack and slash games ever made. I'm not exaggerating. It only has one flaw, which is the lack of difficulty once you get a lot of upgrades. That's not properly balanced, but well, it just needs a bit more of difficulty during the later half of the game, during the last section of the game. But it has hilarious graphics, and it even has an interesting Eastern egg, an interesting Easter egg to Warcraft. If you can find it, I could find it. And if you can find it, it has a pretty interesting reference, a pretty neat Easter egg to World of Warcraft. Remember me? I haven't played this. I finished this one. This is a great game. You will remember my recommendations once you play any of these games on your own, the PC ports. You will remember my recommendations, and you will thank me for them, because trust me, this game is awesome. I warranty you, I certify you, this game is awesome. You have to play that one, you have to play a Ninja, you have to play Voodoo Beans, you have to play this one as well. You won't regret it. You have to try Spec of the Line, as well as Binary Domain and Vanquish. Well, this one, if you can fix the graphics, you have to play the Saboteur. You won't regret it. Trust me. Just trust this random stranger on the internet. Trust this random stranger on the internet for once. Trust a random stranger on the internet for once. You won't regret it. Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I finished this one. I never played Remember Me, so I cannot say anything about it. I think I saw gameplays, but haven't tried it. I like the aesthetics, that's for sure. I finished this one, pretty much the best Spider-Man game ever created, maybe except for the one released for the PS4, but the one on the PS4 uses, let's say, modern lore, and well, I don't think it's the original spirit of Spider-Man. It's a much more modern incarnation, and as you can see there, you can see Venom and Wolverine, because this game has a lot of references to comics. This game is made with love. I remember that in this game, in one of the missions, one of the bosses, you face Wolverine, and he asks you things about comics in order to beat him, and I never read a comic about Spider-Man, and I had a hard time, and I was laughing, kind of like saying, "This is not fair. I've never read a comic." So yeah, the First Templar, pretty clunky. I haven't played this one a lot, but I like the Holy Crusade era, and well, that period of history. So I think it's pretty interesting to analyze. So I like this setting. Darksiders, the War Mastered Edition. I finished the first Darksiders, the best game besides God of War regarding hack and slash mechanics, regarding the hack and slash genre, pretty much. I like the first one even more than the second one, even though most people will agree that the second one is the best. I also think this is a great game. This is much more open world, the scope for this one is much bigger than the first one, but I like how pure hack and slash the first one is. The third one had a recent update. Well, not recent. This one was released a lot of years later after the second one. It's much more similar to the first one, mixed with Dark Souls, which I didn't like. I initially had my torch ready to attack THQ for prostituting one of my favorite franchises of all time, but eventually I had to put down the torch, and I was happily surprised by one update which made the combat in Darksiders 3. It gave you the option of getting the original combat from the original Darksiders game. The game looks great. You have to try the first one, the second one, and the third one. I hope they release the fourth one soon, because we need to finish the tetralogy, would be instead of trilogy. We need to finish the story. It needs to come, needs to be finished. Needs to, we need to play with famine or something like that. Yes, we need to play with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So pretty much, if you haven't played, if you don't know the Darksiders series by now, go play them immediately. But as I've said, this is the most underrated suggestion. This is the best suggestion I can give you. This one, X-Men Origins Wolverine, you won't regret it. Bayonetta, yes, 60 FPS cap, a recent port. This game is a 10 out of 10, nothing to say about it. This game is 10 out of 10. I don't like Devil May Cry. I don't like Devil May Cry. None of them. None of them. Because they don't mix light and heavy attacks. I know I'm so weird. I also don't like Fallout. I also don't like Half-Life 2. But I like a lot of similar games, and I love Bayonetta. I can play Bayonetta 2 on this PC through emulation. So this is the ultimate PC, so the ultimate collection, so don't think I cannot play the second one. I can play the second one perfectly fine, right up there. I'm going to showcase that at the end. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, I finished this one. I need to finish Darksiders 3. I finished this one with all of the side quests. This one as well. This one doesn't have many side quests, just the arena mode maybe. I finished this one on hard difficulty, not the hardest, because you have to unlock it. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, I finished this one on hardest difficulty. They are all made by Platinum Games. Now we get into the Platinum Games category. Sorry, these are all from a THQ. So great. Remember, once again, play this game. Play this game. The PC port, please. Made by Raven Software. You won't regret it. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I didn't like this game. I didn't like this game. This one is 10 out of 10. I didn't like this game. I finished it on the hardest difficulty. I don't like the gameplay system because you face individual enemies. This game is pretty tough. I could beat Senator Armstrong. You only play this game if you have a lot of patience. It's not for the faint of heart because some of the images are a bit. You kind of like rip hearts and those things. If you don't play this game if you just had dinner at all, otherwise play Bayonetta. So, good game, but I don't like how Kojima influenced this with his pompous style. No. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. You have to mod this game. You have to mod these ones. You have to lightly mod these ones because they, as I've said, Japanese games, which are fairly old. The ports are not perfect. In the case of this one, I think the full screen mode is not working, just like with Ninja Gaiden. Don't ask me why, but you can definitely fix it. Use Borderless Gaming, the Borderless Gaming app, and you will be able to fix it. This one, give me a sec. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan is one of the best games developed by Platinum. I know there will be people who will tell me right now, no, it's not one of the best games at all. They have much better games. Well, most of Platinum games are perfect, so this one is not the exception. That's what I want to say. You have to mod this game to play it at 60 FPS because otherwise it will be locked at 30. The Legend of Korra it's another example, but I don't have because that one is not good. That one is not good. But besides, I didn't like the the series at all. But I recommend you play this one because while most people hate it, it's one of those cases in which they are wrong. If you like hack and slash games, I don't see why you wouldn't play this one. Most people forget about this game, and if you like games developed by Platinum Games, this one is pure Platinum Games, perfectly executed. Perfectly executed. I like the mechanics. People will disagree, will tell me I'm not telling you the truth. If you liked Revengeance, Bayonetta 2, Astral Chain, you'll probably like this game. Nier Automata, well, we say these are the best games developed by Platinum. Here you have Nier Replicant as well. These 5 games are all made by Platinum. I love Platinum games. I love the style they use for their games because you have light and heavy attacks, and I never liked Devil May Cry. I never liked Devil May Cry because you cannot perform heavy attacks. You just have to smash one button. I know that people love doing the aerial combos. If I cannot mix light and heavy attacks, for me that game is dead. It's something personal. Instead of Devil May Cry, I will suggest Blades of Time, Marlow Briggs and the Mask of Death. They are all pretty cheap regarding their budget. They don't have a lot of budget. This one is pretty much a God of War clone. The same could be said for Blades of Time. The same could be said for that one. This one has an interesting MOBA mode. Yes, you heard that right. It's hack and slash combined with MOBA. So it has a lot of replayability regarding that. So just as I suggested, offline multiplayer online battle arena games such as these ones last time, check out the previous VOD just in case you're interested in the details. I'm going to suggest Blades of Time from 2012. It's the sequel of another forgotten game which is XX Blades or something like that. This one is the better product. I think I had to fix some files here for this to work properly, but it works properly. Um, Definitely check out this one because most people forget about this game made by Platinum Games. So they always remember this one and this one, but they don't remember about this one. And well, also Nier Automata and Nier Replicant. Well, Blaze of Time, Marlow Briggs and the Mask of Death. Try them, and we get to this one. I am going to showcase this game because I highly recommend you play this forgotten game, which is the Lord of the Rings War in the North. This game from 2012, I finished this game, and this game is a 10 out of 10. I need to showcase this game because I played it on the PS3 without the DLCs or the updates or whatever. I didn't like the ending, but well, it's acceptable, I guess. They should have done a sequel to this game. They did so, I think, eventually with this one, the one most people remember. But this one is different because it has some RPG elements, many more RPG elements when compared to this one, and this one is one of the best games ever created. I love this game, and I'm going to defend this game to death because this game you have to play it. It's a must play, just as I suggested X-Men Origins Wolverine. You have to play Lord of the Rings War in the North. Do so and thank me later because this game, it's original. It has incredible gameplay mechanics, incredible graphics. Everything about this game is incredible. Period. Play this game. Highly suggested. One of my highlights of this collection. This game is great. I love the different classes. I love how the story finally doesn't follow the movies, but I think it's much better than this one, the plot. Play this game immediately, the PC version, because it has unlocked frame rates and for example the rain, it looks gorgeous at the beginning of the game. The mud, everything, the texture. Well, I know that for modern standards it may not look as good as back in the day, but the game is awesome. The game is awesome. It has an original story. It has a pretty interesting lore. Everything. Play the Lord of the Rings War in the North. Do yourself a favor. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. I finished this game with every single side quest, collectible, everything. I 100% finished this game with all of the DLCs / expansions, different side quests, everything. I even conquered the whole map. 100% I finished this game. I conquered the whole map. I killed all of the orc generals, whatever. I love this game. 10 out of 10 as well. But well, no, because it's not as good as this one. But yes, you have to try it. This one is extremely repetitive during the later parts of the game. But if you like the first Assassin's Creed as much as I did, you'll find this one is the true inheritor of Assassin's Creed 1. I know most people cannot picture this if they haven't played these two games. I finished Assassin's Creed 1 5 times. This one only once with all of the side quests, as I said, everything. 100%, even the collectibles, everything. And I did it walking. I did some role-playing walks. I used to role-play walk in this game because it was pretty easy. And I loved it. Kind of like slowly getting to encampments. All of the orcs, I would let them sound the alarm. I wouldn't stealth kill any of them. There's a stealth in this game, but it's pretty similar to It's the same as Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. And I would let them sound the alarm, and I would face 300 orcs. This game is not easy when you are surrounded by orcs, and I would let them do so. I would let them do so just to completely obliterate all of them, and they would eventually, if you play the game, you would end up at some point. It also has the combat system similar to Batman Arkham. The combat system is similar to Batman Arkham, to the Batman Arkham games. The stealth system is like Assassin's Creed 1, and also regarding the repetitiveness, you also have to get to the top of different towers to reveal the map. You know that. But yes, please, once again, play War in the North. Do yourself a favor, and you will verify that my recommendations are the best. I need to play this one. Well, I finished this one recently with all of the DLCs, all of the side quests, all of the collectibles. Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. Well, the first one I finished it completely on PC, and it was an absolute disaster. It was an absolute disaster. Why? Well, these are hack and slash games, but the insane amount of puzzles present in the first Castlevania Lords of Shadow it's an insult, and the final boss as well. The first one is full of puzzles, so I'm waiting to try this one out, because it wasn't a bad game. But it's full of puzzles. It has more puzzles than hack and slash. Yes, and I'm not exaggerating. That's why I don't like Kojima's influence here on Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, as well as the first Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That's why I don't like how it influenced those games. The first Castlevania Lords of Shadow is full of puzzles when it should be a hack and slash game. I don't know, I admit it. I don't know if the second one, I haven't tried it. I just hope and I also finished the DLC for the first one. I hope the second entry fixed that problem. I hope so, because otherwise I'm going to uninstall it just like this. Rise, Son of Rome. This game is a 10 out of 10. Sorry if you don't want to hear this. This game is perfect. My distant ancestors were from Rome. I love this game. This game is perfection. Don't listen to people who say it's not good, blah 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 blah. It is perfection. This game is perfection, made with CryEngine. It's gorgeous. It's a technical marvel, but not only the graphics. You can even have an endless mode or something like that, in which you face a lot of enemies in the Colosseum, in the Roman Colosseum or something like that. It's incredible. It's much more than just the campaign mode. It's incredible. I love the gameplay mechanics for this game, and I am so thankful that we got to play this game on PC. I played this game a lot. Just the Colosseum mode for the most part. Mad Max, well, this one is pretty... I know this one is controversial, but for me, my honest analysis is that this game is perfect. I don't see why anyone would criticize it. For me, this game is perfect. Mad Max, this one is from 2015. This one is from 2014 originally. The PC version for this one has unlocked frame rates, if your GPU can take it, because this one you need to have a powerful GPU, a beefy GPU. Mad Max, this one, it's a semi-open world game, let's say, because it's not like a totally modern open world. Was released before The Witcher. 2015. There's not a lot of ammo. It's mostly melee combat like the Batman Arkham series. If you have ammo, you can pretty much kill everything easily, but the ammo is scarce. This game is about scarcity, but it's not a sword. It could be considered a survival game, but no, it has hack and slash mechanics. If you want to call them beat 'em up mechanics, go ahead and do so. I call them hack and slash because there's a combo system, there's a counterattack system, you can parry, all of those things. Anima, Gates of Memory, The Nameless Chronicles. Well, this one is probably among the most weird recommendations I would do, and I would do so because this one is a hack and slash game made by an indie developer. Don't play the predecessor for this one because the port is not good. Play this one first of all, and then you can play the other one. I just have this one because of what I just said. Anima, Gates of Memory, The Nameless Chronicles. They all have pretty good graphics and excellent gameplay. Omensight, I haven't played this one a lot. I think this one is... Most people consider this one similar to Diablo. No, this is a hack and slash game because it has light and heavy attacks and thus having a combo system. If it has light and heavy attacks, it's a hack and slash game, not an isometric action RPG. I suggest you try Anima, Gates of Memory, The Nameless Chronicles, one of the underrated highlights of my showcase tonight. Omensight is much more known, and this one, people hate this game. Well, I don't. This game I haven't played a lot of this game. It's pretty forgotten, but I highly suggest you try before saying it's horrible, because I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It has hack and slash mechanics. The aesthetic is like that of a third-person shooter. It's a bit cartoony, but it's properly executed. I personally like this game. So it's not a perfect game. It's not like Rise, Son of Rome, or let's say this one is pretty good. Anima, Gates of Memory, The Nameless Chronicles, and well, this one as well, perfection. I'm not exaggerating. Thank me later after you play this one, or this one, or Rise, Son of Rome. This one, I wouldn't suggest it if you are looking for over-the-top quality, if you're looking for perfection. No, but it's not a bad game. I'll just say that because I personally like this game. Pretty much it has hack and slash mechanics. Fast-paced. Your movements are pretty fast-paced. You have to kill enemies at different locations. It's pretty short, but I think it's worth it. Feel free to check it out. And I don't know how you are going to download this game because it's difficult to find. But well, Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't like the politics involved in this game. I think it has a lot of stupid shit going on. If you want a mature story, don't look here. It has a lot of stupid ideas, pretty much, but the gameplay is good. The PC version was originally a disaster. It's fixed. This one is completely modded. And well, just so you know, you can mod this game so the face of the protagonist is the original and not the one they butchered, because that's what they did. But well, the this game is graphically a beast, an absolute beast, and the gameplay is good. and you just have to cope with the terrible plot. And well, I highly suggest you install the mod, which will give you the original face for the protagonist. God of War, well, recently, what could I tell you about this game? This game is great, but I haven't been able to play a lot of it. I think the original trilogy is much better. I think the first God of War is the best, alongside 3. So you can see that I think God of War 2 and this one aren't the best. I liked the God of War games developed by David Jaffe instead of Cory Barlog. I liked 1 and 3 instead of 2 and this one. Just my 2 cents. I liked no, but that one was the HD collection. I liked Ascension a lot. I would also place Ascension up there with 3. Not as good as 3, surely, but classic God of War gameplay is much better than the one present here. Make no mistake, don't let anyone tell you that no, this new entry is the best. They needed to refresh the formula. The formula was getting old, blah blah blah. No. They could have kept releasing God of War games with the classic hack and slash formula and it would have worked perfectly. Even though this game is great, but it's not as good as the first one or the third one. The third one, I would say this: tier 1, the first one and the third one; tier 2, this one and the second one, alongside Ascension. Alongside Ascension, yes, Ascension is a pretty solid game. And last but not least, the ones developed for the PSP. Yeah. So there you have it. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I suggest you don't play Dark Souls games. Instead, play this one. This one is pretty much the proper incarnation of Sekiro, of the Dark Souls formula. I don't like stamina bars, and this game is the uncontested proof. This game is proof. It's the alibi that the original Dark Souls formula was flawed, as I constantly mentioned. As I will always say, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, they were flawed. Flawed games because of the stamina bar, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the real formula for From Software games. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, what can I tell you about this one? It's a great game. It doesn't use the stupid stamina bar system, so it's great as well. So if you like Sekiro, I suggest you try this once. Well, if you haven't watched this cartoon, do so immediately, and after you do so, or while you do so, play this, but well, this one is going to spoil you a lot of the episodes. Pretty much my favorite cartoon of all time, except for the Clone Wars. My second favorite cartoon of all time. So I will be pretty biased regarding this game because it's not as complex as most hack and slash games, but this game is a miracle. I'll just say this: an absolute miracle, an absolute miracle. Sorry, and I also have the GameCube, the OG GameCube game, which is also pretty good. Watch the series and then play this, and the GameCube game, and the GBA game. They are Marvel Avengers. I just downloaded this one because it doesn't have a stamina bar. This is my way of protesting against stamina bars. You must understand. When I see a hack and slash third-person camera game, I know you will tell me that they are beat-em-up games. No. If you have heavy and light attacks and light RPG mechanics, they are hack and slash games. Doesn't matter where the camera is positioned. This game, I pretty much have it because it's a sign of protest against stamina bars. I think they should be eliminated from the gaming industry. Sorry for those of you who like them. I honestly hate them. Not because I would be unable to get through those games, because I played hundreds, thousands of games throughout my life, and trust me, I've faced a lot of terribly difficult games. Look no further than Baldur's Gate 1 on Legacy of Ball difficulty during the first playthrough, not during your second playthrough, and you will find what difficulty truly means. This is a sign of protest. I don't suggest you get this game. It's a personal sign of protest against stamina bars. And well, I must admit that Elden Ring, and you will tell me, well, but that one has a stamina bar. Yes, that's why I'm using the mage class, in which I'm going to ignore that infamous, shitty, and flawed mechanic. So yeah. And I know what most of the hardcore Dark Souls imbeciles and ignorance are thinking. Get good, bro. Get good, bro. And get through the game. You're just saying all of that because you cannot finish those games. You are afraid of playing those games. You don't have the skill. Whatever. Trust me. Someone who has over 1,500 games here and even more lying around. Do you really think that not even a single one is more difficult than Dark Souls? You truly think that? Try Battletoads, not the original because that would be way too cruel on my part. Try Battletoads in Battle Maniacs from the Super Nintendo, or the Star Wars trilogy from the Super Nintendo. There you will see what true difficulty means. Or play Sekiro. I love Sekiro instead of Dark Souls. But well, I must admit that even so, Elden Ring, well, the combat is much more fast-paced. You always end up farming, and it turns into a loot-based gameplay in which you get OP gear, and the bosses end up being easy to kill. But well, I won't deny that that they are not easy games, but there are much more difficult games. And the stamina bar as an isolated mechanic, I hate it because of several reasons. For example, it makes the gameplay clunky, slow paced, which I hate. I want difficulty. You see that I play all of my games on hard mode. Hell, even Advent Rising on hard mode is much more difficult than Dark Souls. Make no mistake. Or I don't know, Total War, Rome 1 or Rome 2 on legendary difficulty. Trust me, you'll learn the true meaning of difficulty. Forza Motorsport 2, the stamina bar mechanic, it's a flawed mechanic. There's no reason for them to deny you continuously attack a target. If it's properly programmed, in God of War 3 you can attack everything and all the time, and it's pretty tough. The final boss on God mode difficulties. The thing is, most people need to finish the game and then replay it again in order to get to that difficulty, and they mostly don't do so. So well, I'm see as a sign of good faith and intentions, I have Elden Ring. It's a great game, I won't deny it. But the second I find a mod to eliminate the stamina bar, See, look at this. If I could find a mod which would make, if I could find a mod which could make Elden Ring even more difficult, I would install it, just as I did with Kingdoms of Amalur here. I would do so, but I would eliminate this stamina bar because it's a flawed mechanic. But well, before I get into a rant, a constant loop, in a loop of rant, we are exactly done at 3 hours. It's perfectly calculated, and I'm not calculating it. So it's been great sharing my thoughts on this third row, which involved third-person shooters, 3D platforming games, as well as hack and slash games. Please don't call them beat 'em up games. They're hack and slash, they have hack and slash DNA. Yes, even Assassin's Creed with the counter mechanic. Then Dark Souls influenced the new ones and prostituted the combat system a bit, but they're still great because they don't use the stamina bar. So yeah. I wish games with stamina bars disappeared, but well. I hate those mechanics, or at least they should do like with Darksiders 3, give us the option. I like fast-paced combat, extremely difficult, but with fast-paced combat. I don't like to roll and wait and farm for 60 hours in order to get there. If I wanted to do that, I would play an RPG, which I do a lot. You've seen me farm endless hours. I even play World of Warcraft offline on my own, just farming because of the sake of farming. I love farming, but not in the context of a hack and slash game. There's a difference. Well, I think you've heard enough. That last pill was hard to swallow. That was hard to swallow. I know it. So I'll leave it like this. I'll leave it right here. So because I think I've said enough for tonight. More unpopular opinions and more recommendations for all of you to try. Remember, as a summary, War in the North, X-Men Origins Wolverine, iNinja, Voodoo Beans, Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars, all of the Rebellion games, Rogue Trooper for example, Spec Ops The Line, definitely, and this one, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, the PC version for Max Payne. You can check out this VOD and you will find out that there are a lot of great hack and slash games for you to try. A lot of 3D platforming games and third-person shooters. Next up, coming right up, will be racing, tower defense, 3D tower defense or third-person tower defense, card games, and puzzle games for the 5th episode of this series in which I'm showcasing the ultimate PC, my PC. Thank you. Well, I hope this was useful for all of you, and I hope to see you all again on Saturday, in which I will cover this 5th row. So be sure to stay tuned just in case you're interested. If you could see that I have a lot of recommendations that will be extremely useful for all of you, in case you are game hunting or whatever, you just want to learn about video games, you want to expand your horizons, don't just play Fortnite, don't play Fortnite, that's disgusting. See how many games you have, endless replayability you have here. You don't need Fortnite, trust me. Ignore games as a service, that's all a pile of crap, and play all of these forgotten jewels, these gems which certainly deserve your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great night. Thank you for being here with me. If you're watching this as a YouTube VOD, thanks as well. And if you want to, if you're watching this as a YouTube VOD and you're watching it like that, back over at YouTube, feel free to come over here to Twitch, follow the channel, so we can talk and discuss about game analysis as well. I do game analysis usually, but in this case I'm showcasing my personal collection. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. See you all on Saturday. Stay tuned. Please follow the Twitch channel so it can grow and I can recommend you all of these great options, and all of our knowledge is useful in the end, because at the end of the day it took me 10 years to gather the knowledge. That was the worst part, gathering the knowledge of in order to create all of this collection. It's not easy to simply create this. You have to gather all of the knowledge before getting to create these collections such as this one. It's been my pleasure. See you all on Saturday.